Well, I think it's a time to make another video. I'm sitting here. It's February the 16th. It's 8:02 at night. And my wife got back from the West 4 days ago. So things are getting back to normal here. So yeah, I am on in my diary of February 2016. I closed today on page 146. So tomorrow I start on page 147 on February the 17th, 2016. I start on 147. If I don't die in my sleep or the world comes to an end. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more days in the month of February 2016. Today I went and I had a ear doctor appointment. I decided not to do anything about my hearing since I've lived with it for years. There's a diagram of the ear that I got from my doctor today. So yeah, I'm just gonna... I damaged this ear when I was in high school. I was coming down a steep hill in Richmond, California. I was really stoned and I passed out. The weed must have been really powerful. I passed out, was going down this hill, and I hit a mailbox. Woke up in the hospital with concussion. And I damaged my ear. I haven't really noticed it until this last year. I do remember what I was reading when I was in the hospital. I was reading The Glass Bead Game by Hermann Hesse. Still have collected work. I have a lot of writings by Hermann Hesse in our library down in the lower level. So yeah, so today is the 16th. Tomorrow I start on page 147. As far as what when I was out today, I did stop at thrift stores and I found this book by Salman Rushdie, Hargan and the Sea Stories, a novel. I have it. I didn't know if I had it. And I found this Kaffa on the Shore novel by Hari Murakami. I have both these, and I'll probably take them to the library book nook Saturday. And I have a lot of, if I see a novel to me like this, I'll just buy it if it's a quarter. I have a lot of doubles. I might have 2 other copies of this in my library. I collect his writings. I have a huge stack of his writings down in the lower level. I really enjoyed reading the Satanic Verses several years ago, and I read another novel of his. Can't remember now what it was. It was oh, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it's worth reading. And I must have to say that I'm still reading Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. Still reading, although of course you end up becoming yourself, A Road Trip with David Foster Wallace. And I'm still reading Every Love Story is a Ghost Story, A Life of David Foster Wallace by T.D. Maxx. I gotta turn that down, the stereo, it's getting bugs me. And I'm still reading both Flesh and Not essays by David Foster Wallace. I've been reading a ton of stuff still on the internet about David Foster Wallace, essays by him, or interviews, reviews, tape conversations. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff on David Foster Wallace on the internet. You could spend days and hours. But I also found on YouTube audio book of Infinite Jest. So I sit there at my main computer, go to YouTube, and I just read along with the audio book of Infinite Jest. So it's really interesting. The person who's reading Infinite Jest on YouTube audiobook is really good. I really enjoy listening, because if you watch my videos, I have a hard time pronunciation. I used to be really embarrassing when I would preach years ago, when I was going to be a gospel minister, and I stand up before educated people in these churches, and I would just slaughter the English language. I mean, it must have been painful listening to me by people who knew grammar and knew, I mean, it was just terrible. It wasn't so bad when I was working in staff of rescue missions and preached and exhorted and taught the Bible to people who are not educated, but educated people must have just shook their head at my pronunciation. And my wife says it's because of my damaged ear that I can't really hear what I'm saying. But I think it's because when I was growing up, I was never taught to read by pronunciation. I read by memory. When I look at a book, I read it by memory. I don't read it by pronunciation. I should read things out loud, but I read stuff to my wife out loud, and it's just terrible. But when you're with your wife, it's, you know, she accepts it and she corrects me. But I wish I could pronunciate words in French and Spanish and Italian and Russian and especially English. I did get this book in the mail today. It's called The Legacy of David Foster Wallace, edited by Samuel Cohen and Lee Constantiu. See, I can't pronounce it. But I got this because it's it has, like, in here a little essay, Michelle Pish and Rick Moody on editing David Foster Wallace, an interview. Yeah, Michael Pish was the one who edited Infinite Jest with David Foster Wallace. He was his editor. And I really like Rick Moody. I have all his writings except his new novel, but he's one of my favorite writers, Rick Moody. And there's a thing in here by, you know, David Linsky, who wrote this, The Road Trip with David Foster Wallace by David Linsky. He's in this book, and he talks about that, his interview with David Foster Wallace. And there's a it just looks really interesting. So I got this. I plan to buy more of David Foster Wallace, his short stories, Oblivion, some other books by him. The best thing, I think, to read David Foster Wallace is to start at the beginning and then read Infinite Jest. I think you have to read him knowing something of his literary writings before Infinite Jest. As far as Infinite Jest, I'm reading it, but I'm not really crazy about it. But I'm still reading it. Doesn't really go anywhere, but I'm really enjoying the biography. Every love story is a ghost story of life. This is really well written. I really enjoy the biography. I've enjoyed reading this interview because this interview with David Foster Wallace is right after Infinite Jest came out, and he's on this book tour and he's signing on a signing tour, and it's really, I like this. It's kind of sad because you know that 12 years after this interview, maybe 12 years, well, at 46 he kills himself. So that's what I'm reading. As far as spiritual reading, I don't know, I'm still out of it spiritually. I don't know. I don't know what to get into. I looked at Christian books and I don't know, just one of those places where I don't know what to get into spiritually. I still read the books on my desk, The Hermitage Within by a Monk and Alone with God, but I'm basically just living in the presence of God and seeking to just be, just get through life. So that's it. So yeah, not much else. I had nothing coming in the mail. Well, I got books coming in March, I think. But I haven't gone to many thrift stores because of the bad weather, the snow and the ice. I don't like driving in icy roads, and I don't like going I don't like going when the weather's bad. So anyway, till the next time, bye.